map.
Newbee played a lot of Drow Ranger in the group stages too, so that's like leaning more toward the dire side in a way.
Explain your answer.
Why is that leaning towards the dire side?
Well,
Roche,
it just
yeah.
Roche.
You want to
Drow Ranger, you group up,
That's the Roche.
you get like 1 or 2 towers, you obviously want to pressure the enemy safe lane. If you get that safe lane tower, you have really easy access toward it without heavy congestion.
I've learned
It's
KP
draft time.
prefers the dire side because Bounty Hunter! We didn't even talk about this, so maybe next time. At some point there was
One
like
of the best.
this phase where everybody picked Bounty Hunter. And that was because of this guy, because of maybe next time. He is, at least in Europe, the best bounty hunter in the early stages of the game, and I know I put a lot of pressure on him right now, but
It's not just a phase, Mom.
it's not just a phase. And then at some point, everybody started banning bounty hunter. And then they actually started picking up Ricky instead, and everybody copied that as well because it had such a big effect.
This hero is
But-
very tricky though. Like,
Yes.
if you pick him in a situation where he can't get kills or he can't get stuff done in the early game, he doesn't offer a lot to your team. You know, he is that hero that when you pick him, you need to keep fighting. You need to have like a specific play style around the bounty hunter.
They love the Dark Sea. Okay, as I'm saying it, they pick it. I was gonna say they really heavily like to emphasize pressuring the short lane. Skylark, when they tend to leave him on his own, he does struggle. I was gonna even mention that beforehand. That's kind of the difference between KP and Skylark is. KP kind of tends to, you know, when he's alone, he sometimes doesn't struggle as much as Skylark. So I like to see this approach already though by Finem, just sticking to their guns, not really worrying about what Newbee will do.
So the downside of Finem also being slightly predictable in that is that you see newbies bans, they ban out the Slark and they ban out the Sniper, and those are the heroes that Madera and Thug love to play, so it feels like at least this first game both teams are just going to play what they're most comfortable with and then see if that works.
I think at Finem, especially like knowing them, I think a really big pickup for me just standing out, even though we haven't seen it much, is the Ursa. Because it's very good versus the Juggernaut, and it's just, they really like it with Darkseer and with Bounty Hunter, since you get the mobility from track, you get the Iron Shell, like, just like, it's the kind of things that just enable him to have a better game.
Yeah, those two are really good partners for the Ursa. And it just allows you to play that kind of bounty hunter game. You don't want to stop, you want to keep fighting, get kills, get, trade kills even. Really good against the Juggernaut, like you say, even in the laning phase.
That's something that they, at least they very highly like to do and emphasize on in their draft.
So Rubik Juggernaut start for Newbee, what does that mean?
It's just a very all-rounded draft. There's a lot of stuff you can do with that opening. You have very good lanes, you have pretty good team fight with Omni Slash. Just in general, you want to be flexible. Like I say this time and time again, you open your draft, you want to make sure that you are very open-ended to different kinds of strats. You adjust. And we talked about Newbee, they are a team that likes to change depending on what the opponent is doing.
I think this time they didn't really change too much though. I think this is a super stable Newbee. Like Rubik Sanking was super contested in China. They actually tend to pick it in the first two, but the Juggernaut as well. This is like their first three opener that I think I see most commonly from Newbee. But it's also very good versus at Finem's heroes that they do have already, because they do have some push coming out of the Juggernaut, natural push, and then they have heavy team fight already coming out with the Sanking Rubik.
Yeah, the thing about the bounty hunter pick is like you want to roam. You don't want to stay in a lane, and if that happens, it means that your safe lane is only going to be two heroes, and Sanking is the kind of hero that if you put him in the right situation to pressure the enemy safe lane, he can cause all sorts of problems. So he might actually force the bounty to stay bot, which is not something you want. When you pick bounty, you want to roam.
Or start bottom, and then he makes the moves, because that's some people just like to, they guarantee their safe lane. Then
that really depends on who's the partner with the Sanking. If the Sanking has a really good partner like an Undying, then things could get rough. Your bounty is not going to be able to do much against that.
But Finem has all the time in the world to prepare for that, as they see the Sanking and they know exactly what's going to happen with that.
Yep, that's why they're taking some time here. It's very crucial for them to decide, oh, this might be pressure lane, so we need to have a good lane to deal with it.
So Bane, I was going to say they're probably deciding on if they do want to show Madara's hero just yet or just prep with Spartans. They do go for Spartans with the Bane. Just a very strong frontline, or strong laning hero.
Yeah, and it's good against the Juggernaut. You have the Fiend Script to stop the spin TP, so that's all in all a really good hero to deal with what Newbee has right now.
While on the other side, looking at the opposite factor, Newbee's heroes actually do quite well versus Bane as well. Sanking easily able to stop the Fiend's Grip, and Rubik has the easiest steal in the world to grab the Fiend's Grip. So Rubik right now has some cool steals, with the Bane spells, and if he's able to get track.
But he does struggle against Bounty in the early stages.
Yes.
That's the only downside about the Rubik this game.
Absolutely.
So that's all going to rely on how the laning phase plays out, what's going to happen, how is Finem going to do the lanes, are they going to just leave the Bounty at top with the Darkseer?
I love having you two on the draft panel just because it does feel like you've got like, you know, in A Beautiful Mind when all the numbers are just swooping around his face and it's just like trying to piece it together
Wow,
the puzzle.
thanks.
That's what I feel like.
Alex.
Did you call us smart? I think you just
Yeah,
called
that's
us
good like
smart.
Russell
He
Crowe.
called you guys
Yeah.
smart.
That's what it feels like to
You see,
me.
it paid off. I called him good looking before, and now it pays off.
That's
I
right.
didn't say anything though, so I'll just make fun of you some more.
Sure, how about me and you play chess and the winner plays Winter? How's that?
I'm awful at chess, so I will pass.
Oh, damn.
There's
Oh,
OD.
welcome back, OD. It's
Oh
been a
yeah,
while.
this hero like
Where-
fell out of existence.
Where
I felt
did you
like.
go?
So they reveal SCCC's hero first, meaning that at Finem has some time to think about what to face up
Well,
against that.
basically,
Thug.
OD does pretty good against most of the heroes. If you want to really win the lane against OD, you need like a Razor. You
Yeah.
need something very, very particular to win the lane. You pick the hero to win the lane.
This is a bit different from what at least I would expect from Ad Finem. I guess there's just Ursa's kind of like a hero that's fallen off completely, but it's one that I know that they love. But they also want to be able to, you know, they want to be able to have that strength in their lane since they want the bounty hunter not to be down there. So picking the Luna kind of indicates that to me, and also having that later scaling potential, and also an objective taker and a building hitter, which is the Luna, which helps your draft. And with the Darkseer mech, it's like more team fight.
The other
Hey
thing
guys,
about
where's Bat Rider?
The other thing about the Luna pick is like it gives you like your support much better time because of the aura. So
Yeah.
you know, teams have been really focusing about just getting that hero for a better laning phase.
It's interesting to me that you mentioned Bat
Oh,
Rider.
Nice
by the way, the
Storm
Razor is gone, so no Razor against OD.
And Sniper's banned out earlier as
And
well.
Earth Spirit. Awesome. Sorry.
It's okay. They were cool.
They were cool. So we're missing for Newbee KP's hero, right?
Yep.
He's played a lot of Bat Rider.
It might be the
Sanking still.
Sanking,
Oh, yeah, it might be
Sanking is
Sanking.
still open.
Open.
Yes.
They could technically still do the support Sanking and, you know, another
Yeah.
offlane. But right now for Ad Finem,
They
just
ban
choose to-
Kunkka.
that's one of Kaka's favorite hero, and they have OD, so Kunkka has a lot of synergy with Newbee's lineup. One good ban there for Ad Finem.
I want Ad Finem to have more scaling potential with another mid laner.
Scaling, like you want more like another core, like
Yeah,
like
another
something-
stronger core.
But then if you do that, you might have to sacrifice your lane. Like what kind of hero are you looking for? You need to do well against OD at the same time. You can't just have a bad matchup against OD. Like not many heroes can fulfill that criteria.
There's not many left. I mean, the ones that Ad Finem really like are like the Puck doesn't do that great. It's a hero that's fallen completely out of favor. It's not
But do
the
you
best
just
for
pick the
OD.
hero just because it's good for your lineup and just sacrifice the laning phase here? Now that's the important question. What do you choose for? Do you value the laning phase more, or do you value what works for your team more?
It's like Invoker and Puck are the two that stand out for me for Ad Finem right now. But actually, okay, that's a pretty good matchup versus the OD as well, and it's actually one of Thug's hero.
It's okay, but
It's
I
okay.
think OD still does really well in that matchup. But it's very good with the bounty. Like the way they want to approach the game is.
KP Omni Knight it is. So it is the support Sun King.
That lane is still like Omni Knight Sand King. That lane is super scary if they do that lane. But Ad Finem's dual lane is not very well equipped to deal with that.
Oof.
I think there's a lot of pressure on
Yeah.
maybe next time with his bounty hunter.
I think so too. I think he needs to get a lot done, and then
Yeah.
they need to take very scrappy mid-game fights away from the Omni Knight.
Okay, so all eyes on MNT.
MNT.
Yep.
Yep, one team wants to 5-man, the other team wants to, you know, pick a kill here and there.
I mean, it was first draft, right? Literally, Bounty Hunter throwing down the gauntlet. Ad Finem are going to go ahead and try and start with a bang. They have made their selections, and the drafters have our desk a little apprehensive. Perhaps our casters are going to be more enjoying or more welcoming of the Greeks' choices. We're going to go ahead and head over to them as Capitalist and Malini to cast through this series, and it's going to be a big one.
Well, I don't know about their drafts, but I know the audience sitting behind me is more than welcoming of both of these teams. A lot of fans behind us, as you can see. Ad Finem, group stage was a rough one, wasn't it, Merlini?
They had a rough group.
Yeah, they were one game away from first, one game away from second, end up third, and then we go into the main stage and they're matched up against one of those top 5 teams that we talked about before the tournament started in Newbee. This is going to be a very real test for both of these teams, right? Because Newbee, they definitely have had a little bit lesser of a showing than probably they wanted. They wanted to be able to come out with a bang and be able to show Virtus Pro what's up, but unfortunately they ended up in second and now have to face up against probably one of the tougher of the European teams.
At least they gave us a very memorable game versus Virtus Pro. That was quite the showing. And in this game, we think they're slightly underhanded because of the last pick, Omni Knight. How do you feel about that?
I'm feeling like even before the Omni Knight, I wasn't too sure. I'm not a big fan of early Bounty Hunter picks. And yes, maybe next time's Bounty Hunter may be legendary, but I'm still not sure if they're going to be able to make it work because it looks like Newbee, they just naturally have some lanes that are going to be tough to be able to gank, and they also have very strong team fight. I don't feel like we're really going to see that Bounty Hunter momentum this game.
Oh, maybe next time. Already gathering a lot of intel behind the T1 tower in the mid, getting some insight into the lane setup. Doesn't look like any... there does actually look to be a lane swap. Madara will be heading top with the rest of the Ad Finem supports.
Yeah, trying to get away from this aggressive situation that is coming out from Newbee. So they're running the Rubik, Sand King, and a Juggernaut. That is a fearsome kill lane. Leading with the telekinesis, follow-up stun coming out from that Burrow Strike, and then all that spin damage. Hard to see how Luna would be able to effectively farm against that. So they're going to switch things up, but Newbee, I'm sure, aren't going to be too scared of leaving a Juggernaut at bottom lane. These two supports of Newbee's, both Faith and Kaka, I think can pair up.
He's running into a Sentry Ward right now. He is spotted, but Juggernaut is nowhere close. They might get some good damage on him in the meantime.
Oh, no way. He's hiding right in the trees. He's going to have to pop out with the Tango, but it looks like he's going to be run down. Burrow Strike is there. It doesn't even look like they're going to have to blow the spin. That'll be the first blood. U9 will get himself not only a free lane, but he'll also get the coveted first blood.
So it looks like Ad Finem have already sent the Darkseer off to the jungle. He was prepared to Iron Talon from the start. He's actually cut a pathway in the trees to make his time a little bit easier. And the question is, what is the Bounty Hunter going to do? Is he going to try and play as an offlaner and soak up the free experience on the bottom lane so they don't push a tower, or try and harass the other lanes?
Well, I'm not sure if he's really going to be able to have too much of an effect at mid. Templar Assassin, I feel like it's just not going to be a hero that will take advantage of that. Maybe later on, though, he can couple with the Darkseer jungling, and they can do some potential Ion Shell harassment. Feels like right now it's perhaps better for him to try his luck as a pseudo offlaner here against the Newbee aggressive tri-lane.
Especially with the Bane on top. Bane was harassing out Omni very effectively.
Doesn't seem to keep KP completely out of experience right now. You could see the duo pairing up to push KP back as much as possible, but he's already level 2.5. Our Bounty Hunter, after being caught like that, still not level 2 himself.
If they do have another dust on the Sand King, no scan available for them yet to get a clear sign of where maybe next time is. He's just hiding in the trees. That's a very difficult place to gank, especially if he drops a Sentry Ward like closer behind tower. There's almost no way that they can find him. Maybe they can tell by pulling down the scoreboard and seeing that he's level 2 right now, because there's not really any other place that he'd get level 2. Maybe,
yeah,
I guess like if he leeches off Skylark, but that's very unlikely.
Yeah, definitely. You don't want to be taking too much time away from that Darkseer. I love Newbee's, just like they are wasting very little time here. Maybe next time thought about it. It almost seemed like Newbee were kind of baiting him out a little bit too. Maybe next time will not fall for that though.
Oh, they dropped the Sentry.
They dropped the counter ward though, and they are going to be able to find maybe next time. Burrow Strike is coming up. He's barely out of range. They're going to be able to get the dust, and there's the Burrow Strike finally. Follow-up telekinesis and a spin. A second death for maybe next time. Newbee are wasting no time whatsoever. They set up clear dominance in the lanes here. They use their aggressive tri-lane to bully down the tower as efficiently as possible, even spinning down waves to make it happen quickly. And they've already picked up the first 2 kills of the game.
Bottom lane is all theirs as Sand King proceeds to pull. So this is even more problematic as more and more farm goes Newbee's way.
And this has got to go back to the bit of the problems, right, with that first pick Bounty Hunter. Newbee being able to just set up very strong lanes for themselves leaves the Bounty Hunter very little avenues to have an impact.
He's still level 3, so it's not the worst thing in the world. KP, by comparison, is level 3.5. But, of course, the 2 deaths and the tower and the first blood, all good in Newbee.
Yeah, Juggernaut's going to have quite the fun time with that bit of extra gold. Thung's going to be able to play off of some jungle efficiency as well, thanks to being on Radiant side. One of the advantages of being the Templar Assassin here. We've seen the same thing out of Lycan. Skylark in some trouble, though. It's going to be telekinesis right as he surges up, trying to outrun that spin and now outrun Faith. It looks like he is one step ahead for now. Faith has 335 movement speed, will be able to catch him in the end. A third kill in 4 minutes for Newbee as Finem struggle to get themselves on the board.
And they're blind on that part of the map. Just a minute ago, TA, or presumably someone that was close around the mid lane, had scanned directly to the right side of the T1 tower. They just have no idea where these two supports are, and any hero that's down there could...
This is rough. Kaka's got an Invis rune, and they have a hasted SC coming in from behind. They have no idea what's about to hit them. KP is playing the bait, and all of a sudden the pop out. Sand King comes in, manages to get a lot of damage onto Monera. SC is going to be able to finish him off, and the rest of Newbee try and track down Spartan, who's going to be leading a creep of trees. All right, going to be able to drop it off with the neutrals. Nice play with Spartan. And he'll try and hide himself away somewhere here, but he does not have the mana for a TP. Meanwhile, bottom lane, U9 was being gone on by the combo of Darkseer, Bounty Hunter. Back over to Spartan. He'll finally be spotted out by SC on his way back to the mid lane. Spartan, my friend, no mana whatsoever. A Burrow Strike awaiting him. A death is seemingly inevitable. What the hell? Spartan, he's making his way out of this one. He still needs 25 mana for a TP, but he's saying this is all worth it. He's going to be able to buy another pair of wards, juking around, trying to buy as much time as possible before his inevitable death. But it will come at the 5-minute mark. So SC will be the one to pick it up.
Still some fancy moves from him. Bought himself a good 20, 30 seconds for his team. They need some more stacks on the Radiant side. I think waiting for 10 minutes and getting that Tome of Experience is just going to be way too late. I think they need to get some more farm in the meantime. So he uses a single tree to juke Kaka.
Juke Kaka out completely with the Burrow Strike. And that's oh, you gotta love Finem for things like that. Even on the losing side of a laning phase, they still find a way to have fun.
They're so jolly. It's great. I love seeing that reaction from him.
And they're going to need those high spirits, that's for sure. It's not looking great on the net worth chart. 2,500 gold lead right now for Newbee.
This is where you tell your team, we have track. We have track.
We have the comeback. We have the comeback mechanism ready to go. We just need the levels for now.
Yeah, I'm more worried about them being able to deal with the Omni Knight later, but they can worry about that as the time comes. First things first, they need to get some levels, they need to get a little bit more farm, they need to get track, and they need to get kills. But I would really like to see them stack Ancients, take it out very easily with a TA, they can get some level 6 without the use of the Tome.
Oh, are they going to be able to get here in time? They lead off with the imprisonment, but Thug, the two supports of Kaka and Faith just weren't quite in position to be able to set up. Spartan was sitting behind Thug, ready to pop out at a moment's notice as well. So the duo is going to start heading their way up to top lane, see if they can catch out Skylark, who's already had a bit of damage taken. Oh, never mind. They're actually going to turn things right back around. Instead of going top, they smoke up, start making their way bottom, where Madara is attempting to solo up against the Juggernaut and claim his level 6.
He doesn't have enough mana for Omni Slash, but he does have enough for spin, and with the double disable from the Dire side, should be easy kill. Madara just dodges the scan. He's right outside that radius.
And these two supports may feel like the better option is to run straight down, see if they can get the smoke pop. Maybe Kaka can get it. It's right at the end of his smoke, but it does pop on Madara, and not due to time, but he may not realize that. And it looks like Madara might just be able to get away here. Oh, man. He's not going for it either, is he? Yeah, he's going for a TP scroll. All right. Madara is not doing much in these trees, but at least he's not dying.
Yeah, that's one of those plays where you're looking at the map, not at your buff icon. So
yeah,
it expired, maybe 2 or 3 seconds before, so he wasn't completely sure that it popped from a hero rather than duration.
Skylark is level 7. He's actually pretty far up there in the net worth chart. Well, relatively speaking. He's keeping pace with KP at least. Him in maybe next time, trying to make goes occasionally on KP, but it's just not really working. Our supports are going to combine up with Newbee's U9 as they make their way deeper into the jungle, cutting off some of Thug's farming areas. Not able to find him for a kill, it seems, but at least they can kind of close off Finem. This whole entire jungle area just seems to be kind of owned by Newbee. They might just be able to keep up that pressure and take the tier 1 tower as well.
And now they'll scout the Ancient stack. They'll see that it's a tri-stack, but they can't do anything about it. They don't have the heroes to clear it. Maybe once Juggernaut gets Battle Fury, or if all 5 heroes are there and some Finem are dead, they can do it. But right now, no. Tempo Assassin also doesn't really have any TA traps set up that could probably help if they were scared. But two Ad Finem heroes smoked up behind. Eclipse is ready with level 4 Lucent Beam.
There's a lot of creeps, though. They're trying to get that position to come in from behind so they won't have to worry as much about the creeps, but it seems like they're not going to try and force this fight before the Tier 1 tower goes down. They're going to wait for one of the heroes to maybe move to the right-hand side, but Newbee already moved up. I think they pinged out that Tier 1 tower at top lane, systematically working their way through Ad Finem's outer towers.
Gold lead, 4,000 gold for Newbee. A little bit problematic, but all it takes is a little bit of carelessness and a couple of track kills, and they'll be right back in. They still need grips. Newbee also has really good ward setup, at least closer to the river.
Yeah, and they also still need that 10-minute mark to come in so they can give the tome to maybe next time, so they can actually get that track in the first place. Looks like they're going to be giving up this tower. Ad Finem are making no maneuvers to contest.
They want to
Madara
slow
just
down
wants the extra time.
So I think maybe next time wants to slow down Kaka's blink. That's really important for them. They don't really have good initiation aside from that. Like OD Astral, I mean, he doesn't have a Force Staff. He went for Midas first.
Shuriken comes out trying to get that sleep, not going to be able to come off, and they just don't have the levels to be able to nuke down the Sand King at this point. The rest of Newbee will take that Tier 1.
So now 10 minutes hits. I see the tome immediately purchased by Bounty Hunter. It could be go time pretty soon. They're only lacking really the Bane Fiend's grip, but generally with Eclipse you should be able to get at least 1, if not 2 kills, but they have to be especially careful versus the Omni Knight.
Look at that, the way that they just quickly clear through waves. The spin and Fate Bolt being used by Faith. Newbee are pushing out all the lanes, getting a lot of information about Ad Finem's heroes, their positioning, and even their progression in items and levels. It is a bit wanting right now. Ad Finem are good in experience, I should say. But quite the gold lead for Newbee so far, thanks to all these towers.
They're actually in the lead for experience by a good 2,500. This is because the two supports have been hooked up the entire time. Like Rubik and Sand King, for at least the first like 6-7 minutes of the game, they were just being together.
Jump on the Madara. He's going to need some help. Kaka is trying to get himself away. Doesn't have the Pro Strike up in time. That's going to be the first track kill of the game. Maybe next time, posts up very nicely. We'll be able to get another track on the Faith, giving Madara the space to be able to stay ahead of at least one of these heroes. But SC, he's moving a whole lot quicker thanks to the Haste Rune. He'll be able to get the jump here onto Madara.
No chance with a Brain Zap. Brain Zap plus Fate Bolt's like almost 600 damage.
Yeah, that's one of the beautiful things about Rubik in this game, right? He's got free, easy steals against Spartan. All three of those abilities, Sleep, Brain Zap, as well as Fiend's Grip. Pretty value for that hero.
Yeah, sometimes it's worth picking up one level of Enfeeble just to mess with the Rubik a little bit, make you think twice about stealing a spell from the Bane. And Luna, generally very fast hero, but that's because SCCC had a Haste Rune, was able to chase him down.
They're going to be able to search up Spartan. He tries to catch 9, but he doesn't quite get him. Juggernaut runs into the neutrals just at the right time, and that may spoil something very big. Ad Finem, we're looking forward to be able to get a Fiend's Grip kill.
Smoke. They smoked just to the northwest of their T1 tower, and it was on the high ground, and they're looking out for the juicy Luna. But it is tough. She has night vision, so this is why they do need to smoke.
Madara does seem to, both him and U9 are staying one step ahead of these attempted smoke ganks from the opposing team. Uh-oh. Never mind. He's actually going to go to the neutral camp, and Newbee, their smoke is broken, but they are not going to be able to close that distance in time.
That's a very safe and smart play from Madara. Like, even if you have Lance, like right-clicking it to aggro that is a little bit risky, but because he knows that so many heroes of Newbee are missing, he pulls the creep with a Lucent Beam. If they dive him at the T2, they don't know who's over there. They only have vision around that camp. But they see him go back down bottom.
They do have the mech now for Ad Finem, and that is another big boost in their team fighting capabilities. They're going to need it too. Madara puts himself deep in the trees here, but he TP's out, so they are just avoiding Newbee, it seems. despite having these big, big cooldown ultimates like Eclipse, like Wall, even the fresh mech pickup, they still don't feel comfortable contesting Newbee for any of these towers.
The Omni Knight is way too strong right now. They don't really have any AoE disabled. They don't have any blinkers to get to them to the back line. And if they're S5 right now, how do you stop like a counter initiation with heal and then repel and then GA? There's no counterplay to that. There's no diffusal blade. You need like a blink as OTA to actually start putting pressure on heroes so that they might get one shot from meld or two strikes, which just makes the positioning for the Omni Knight very, very difficult. So no TA trap inside the pit. They have to be a little bit worried about them taking down Roche right now. It won't be that fast because there is not really that much int yet on the OB, but with Intreds and with the sustain,
just
Modi,
the full 5-man of Newbee, yeah.
They might concede a T2.
It does kind of seem like the way that Finem have been playing, they've been dodging Newbee for this whole entire time. It would be pretty understandable if they actually knew Roshan was going on right now and they just hoped to be able to take this tier 2 as an exchange. In fact, I think I would be pretty happy if I was Finem getting that boost of gold. All they have to do at that point in time is make sure that Newbee do not actually claim any high ground advantage with their Aegis. They're going to smoke up and max TP here, some to the tier 3 tower. One of them is going to be leading off in tier 2. That's going to be SC. He managed to catch the Templar Assassin, and Finem are going to be forced into a fight here. Thug needs some help. He turns around, gets a good amount of damage on SC. They also throw the wall down, but he gets a heal and a repel. Kaka makes a nice initiation, but they manage to get the Fiend's Grip, but Faith immediately puts a stop to that one with telekinesis. SC, he drops the hammer, but can't finish anybody off. It looks like Thug may be caught here, but he has the refraction. Quickly burning through that one, he's going to be forced back. Maybe next time will help cover his tracks on the background. Faith barely stays alive. It's going to be Finem's Bane who goes down instead, but they manage to get the Juggernaut, making it all worth it for Finem.
Yeah, that was actually great for them. Taking down the Juggernaut, they dealt with the Outworld Devourer very, very well. They slept him at the start, and then they almost had a full duration Fiend's Grip onto him, combined with the Eclipse. So they're positioning on the left side inside the trees. Like, look at where Spartan is from the Bane. That's very hard to interrupt the Fiend's Grip, and Faith does his best. He steals the Fiend's Grip, but with the Eclipse coming out, the wall is also just placed in a position where it's very difficult for Newbee to fight.
And KP just came in a little bit too late with that Guardian Angel. The Juggernaut put himself forward against Thug like that, and that quick burst damage, that physical damage coming in from the meld, clearly took him by surprise, as well as KP. And that is really what turns into a lost team fight there for Newbee, trading a core in exchange for support. They do barely keep that tier 2 tower alive. It is in deny range, but they're not going to take that time just yet. They also have a lingering advantage here for the next fight, potentially. Faith does have the Fiend's Grip ready to go.
Still, they need a Blink Dagger on Sand King. That's the one that's 500 gold away from them. Sand King's much more difficult to play when there's a bounty hunter in the game. You can't rely on just disjointing stuff with a Sandstorm very, very often, and he can also stop you from split pushing the side lanes very easily.
It seems like Finem, despite not having a Diffusal Blade, like an early Diffusal Blade hero, they do seem to know how to play around this Omni Knight pretty well. That was an impressive display at that top lane of the way they kind of kited back and forth and covered each other's tracks to make sure they didn't all-in commit for a team fight that quickly gets turned around by a simple heal and Guardian Angel play from KP. So
yes, they want Newbee to go on the offensive. If you go on the offensive, oftentimes you have to pre-repel or you have to sacrifice your Omni Knight's positioning. It's generally one or the other. If you're playing defensively and you wait for the other team to come to you, Omni Knight just hides in the fog and then you just cast your spells, no problem, reactively. But yeah, when you have to run into them, it's harder.
But surely there's only so much team play that can be done by Finem, right? Like, do you think they actually need a Diffusal Blade out of this team? And if so, who's actually going to be picking it up? All right.
I'd say probably the TA at some point. Sometimes you'll see TAs get it just in response to Ghost Scepters.
Barely making it out. Maybe next time. Clean escape.
Yeah, I like the way that he's playing, though. He leached a lot of XP. Yeah, he died twice and he lost his tower, but there's not really that much else he can do. It was just a little bit unfortunate that he did take a spill twice.
Faith just used his Fiend's Grip because he's about to run out of that spell steal on a big creep, but he may not be anticipating running into some members of Finem here. Spartan and Madara have grouped up as a nice duo with the Eclipse. They could easily bring down any one or two heroes that they run into, but they don't find anybody here as we... Spartan, come on, give me something. Oh, yeah.
He always has something
He's
to
pumped.
say. And Finem almost hit the timing right before the Sand King's Blink Dagger. That's what they were trying to aim for. They really slowed him down with that one track kill. The only track kill. The only kill that they've gotten.
Yeah.
Or only track kill, I think. But They just missed it. Sinking had just walked back home, so their smoke was to no avail.
Hello? Blink Dagger? All right, we've got it now.
Yep, he just got it.
Kaka will pick up his blink from the ground. Him and KP both have some form of initiation. KP can, I think now that Newbee, when they're playing aggressive, they can rely on KP a little bit more now that he's got that mobility. They really want to be able to interrupt any ancient farming here, but just got cleaned up by Thug before they can really make their move.
And Radiant has used scans, so they definitely expect a smoke. They're just not sure from which angle. But now that OD shows in the mid lane, it's pretty much, they can guess with almost certainty where the rest of Newbee are. So just a minute left on the Aegis. Newbee set up 2 new Observer Wards, one right outside the T2 in the mid lane and one close to the Ancients, so they can hopefully catch an unsuspecting Templar Assassin. So Templar Assassin picked up a Blink Dagger. Next item looks like it will be an Ogre Club for the BKB. She needs it.
So they make that kind of push, and they set up nice aggressive wards, but what's Newbee's game plan for the next 1 or 2 minutes around those wards? Do you think they're going to go for another push, or are they waiting for another smoke opportunity?
They definitely still want team fights. Like any sort of team fight that they can get, I think they should be aiming for, as long as it's not under a tower from Ad Finem. That just gives them way too much of a positional advantage to win the team fight. But they need the Sand King to just hit a big epicenter. There's no BKBs up there yet. Like Luna's still in that very early phase, although I say early and she has a ton of HP. She has a lot of strength. She has 1500 HP, but it's still, I'd say, relatively easy for them to burst him down, especially with the OD being fairly massive. He's kind of uncontested in his sort of farm. But I think at some point they have to deal with the TA. Like, TA is getting kind of big, and I think Omni Knight is like pretty decent, but Purification Heal only does so much if your cores don't have that much armor. And Juggernaut's kind of already itemized against the TA. Manta, like, it makes it very difficult for TA to actually hit the real target, get rid of the minus armor, and you can also turn around and hit the TA for many instances to get rid of the refraction. And then the OD, he went for second item plate mail after 4 staff. So they're very aware that the Luna is going to be an issue, or sorry, the TA is going to be an issue in terms of damage.
If you didn't see what just happened at bottom lane, this is why you pick up a Bounty Hunter right here. Bounty Hunter lays some nice aggressive vision that manages to spot out all of Newbee's rotations to defend that tier 1 tower, buying Ad Finem essentially a push that forces Newbee to rotate around, and then they just move to the opposite side of the map with full confidence. Look at them, they're just pushing out. They're rather spread. They're just trying to efficiently farm the map while they know Newbee are all climbed up towards the south.
This is the big benefit of the Bounty Hunter. Some people might be like, oh man, Bounty Hunter first phase, are you crazy? But the way that he's playing it is like a Riki.
Yeah.
So that's the way that they can just swap gears. Okay, if they have better team fight than us and they always 5-man, I'll just play the vision game and pretty much never use Strat. They've gotten 2 kills this game, and you might think that's a worthless pick, but I think the way he's playing it, they're not really counting on Track at all to win the game. They're just being super annoying with the Bounty Hunter and just wasting time, creating space, waiting for BKBs, waiting for more items, waiting for defusal.
Yeah, maybe next time was actually in a position, multiple times he's been in position to both get aggressive wards and also try and break smokes to cover his 2 rather farm-heavy cores, because these were 2 cores that were looking rather weak around 12 minutes, right? When Newbee are grouping up and they're taking so many towers, you look at both the Templar Assassin and the Luna, you say, hey, they're mid-game team-fighting heroes, but they definitely need their core items before they're ready to go. TA needs at least that Deso, if not Blink, as well as BKB, and the same kind of applies to Luna with the Manta. You need to be able to have some serious stat gain in order to really contest with this hero. It looks like Madara is not actually going to be going for the Manta next. He's going for the earlier BKB, it looks like, with the Mithril-Heimer.
They might want to fight right around the second Roshan respawn, because TA is almost done. She just has her BKB, so Blink, Deso, BKB, that's good enough for now. You can work on whatever item you want next, Crystallis, Daedalus, or Diffusal Blade, but it depends on how long the Rosh spawn timer is. They did just place a Sentry Ward right outside the Rosh pit, which did deward the trap, so neither team will be aware that Roshan is just about to respawn in about 5 seconds time.
Do you think Madara's trying to match one of his peaks with essentially the Templar Assassin's very large peak that she comes in timing? Thug is going to be caught here in the top lane in some serious trouble. He does have the Refraction, Blink, and BKB all up, so he might be able to get out of this unless they combo stun him up. He's going to try and TP out. It looks like he should be okay. It's close, but the physical damage just isn't quite enough. Unfortunately, KP just a quarter of a second too late to hit that Burrow Strike as the BKB goes off first for Thug.
Whew, that was so close. But I think you are right with them trying to match. You want your two cores to be on the same page. You want to be able to fight at the same time. You want to be farming at the same time. If they just play as 4 in the team fight, they're going to get crushed because Newbee's almost always together as 5. And now looks like Newbee will start heading close to the Roshan pit. Juggernaut has a defusal of his own. And let's see, they scout out Roche, but not interested in taking it quite yet. I don't think they're strong enough to win a team fight, but only just barely, and I don't think it's worth it for them to pick up a gem just yet, just because a TA could like easily like two-shot one of their supports, especially the Rubik.
I don't know. I think it might be time for a gem. I mean, look how many counter wars they've laid down as Newbee, because they know their movements are being read. The problem is, it's a bounty hunter. He's placing wards that you're not used to actually having to contest. A ward between tier 1, tier 2 bottom. A ward that's already inside your base, up at the top lane. It seems at Finem, Newbee know this. They knew all their movements. Oh, it's gonna. Oh, what? Maybe next time. No. All right, Courier. It'll get a pass this time around, but will Newbee get a pass on this Roshan attempt? It seems like Ad Finem know, and they are quickly moving into the Roshan pit with this smoke.
And Darkseer has a blink dagger.
They're going to blink forward, Burrow Strike already on the Thug. That's going to stop that big entrance, and the wall backing just becomes an impossible situation. Newbee are just going to push forward without it as they miss the vacuum combo, and there it goes. SC, who's forward big time, managed to take out the Luna, the second core of this fight, who's already down Thug in the backlines, does manage to kill at least the Rubik, but now he no longer has BKB. The Fuser Blade's going to be able to slow him down. Blinks out to the side, but now KP will keep pace with him. Unfortunately, they are lacking any counter vision, so Thug can bide his time another 4 seconds. He will have a blink up as well as a refraction. Are they really going to try and chase him down? Sand King's on his way. There goes the blink, but they're going to be able to keep up with Thug. He's going to go for the TP out in prison. It's not going to be there in time. SC as well as Kaka were on their way. At Finem, though, that was just the fact that they got away with Thug was a bare minimum that had to happen. That was a disastrous fight.
And Skylark went for the super high-risk play. He went for the blind blink vacuum. He only got a wall on one person. He was hoping for at least a 3-person vacuum wall, but instead, SECC was already repelled, so he wouldn't have been hit. And then Madara, you can see, like, he doesn't have BKB. He just gets destroyed.
Yeah, they still have yet to be able to finish up that item. He just needed a little bit more gold. And they could have had that big team fight pick up, and maybe Skylark wouldn't have felt as compelled to make such a high-risk play if they had that reliable match community for the Luna.
They still could have lost way more heroes. They didn't lose the TA, and Bane also had a nice sleep close to the secret shop that kept the OD from stopping his TP. So I think they're lucky to only lose Roche.
Yeah, absolutely.
What, 1 or 2 heroes?
Quick update on the net worth. Newbee are holding 2,500, and that experience lead that Ad Finem have had by efficiently farming out the map this whole entire time, that is finally in Newbee's favor instead.
And going back to the discussion of the gem, like the gem is it's great in the fact that yeah, they're 5-manning and it would own all the TA traps, but at the same time it makes you more compelled to 5-man, and they're not like winning out hugely in terms of farm. So I think if they get a gem, they'd be like, okay, we can only 5-man from now on because our supports can still die because their cores are very farmed. Bounty Hunter could be anywhere on the map, and TA could be right behind them. Like even if you have the gem, you might not be able to watch the Bounty Hunter watching you because of the gem radius is much smaller than his daytime vision.
Ad Finem trying to get a catch as they knew that some of the Newbee members were actually rotating up to the top lane. Kaka is kind of leading the charge there. See if he could pick off Thug, who's always keeping pressure on one of these side lanes to make sure that Newbee don't have a free pass to just march down the mid lane.
And Thug has gone for the Chrysalis build, and the Diffusal, as has been mentioned earlier, it might not be the best choice because if you look at Omni Knight's items, he has an Ultimate Orb. Ultimate Orb on Omni Knight usually means a Lincoln Sphere. So Lincolns, especially with the new cooldown Diffusal, it's not reliable. So it's better for him, in his eyes, to just one-shot people so that Omni Knight can't get a chance to react. Who cares about Repel if you can just one-shot them with physical damage?
Yeah, who knows? Maybe he can even one-shot KP. He really starts building up that damage. Won't have to worry about the Guardian Angel at all. More mobility coming out for Outworld Devourer.
And the gem is up on Sand King. So now Sand King has to be especially careful. Even TA, they would have gotten a lot more out of that Roshan fight had they had this gem a little bit earlier. And all these observer rewards gonna be toast.
He's only had it for a couple minutes now, but there is still plenty of vision up for Ad Finem just due to the rather unique areas that they are, especially that one inside base. But it doesn't do Ad Finem any good if Newbee are the ones marching into your base They're already taking that tier 2 tower at top lane, and they may just keep going in order to force Finem back. Finem, of course, on the opposite side of the map, as they are constantly want to do. They're trying to make some trade-offs here, but...
So this is Skylark's time to shine. He is smoked up, he is ready. They were grouped up as 4, but now sensing that everyone was out, and will just back off.
Yeah, they... NewBee see, nobody's actually pushing down that tier 2 anymore, so...
It's so risky pushing into Darkseer. Like, he didn't have a good vacuum wall, that's because he had to jump into them, but when you're playing on the defense, when you have the high ground, when you have the invisibility from smoke, like, it can destroy a team that has no BKBs.
At the same time, there is only an Aegis for another minute and a half. Do you think NewBee are still going to try and force it with this Aegis?
No way. Their lanes are not pushed in. I think going down bottom is just too risky. They still don't have any BKBs, and if you pre-repel someone, it's still a little bit risky too, just because your Omni Knight can die, and now the TA is on top of the net worth chart, just a couple hundred above the OD, but that's pretty difficult considering that she has had like almost no track kills, and they've been having to play from the back foot from minute 2.
It's looking like Finem actually want to try and force things at the top lane. They're drawing the line, and they're setting up for a big-time push just about the time that the Aegis is going to be expiring from NewBee.
Yeah, there's still a minute left on Aegis, but you have to respect Luna and TA when it comes to pushing power, especially when you don't have the Dezo on your team.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, the TA by herself is going to be able to chunk down this tier 3 tower, and nobody wants to fight around a Luna when she's already hitting on your Raxes, but NewBee are a bit slow to get here. They're going to come forward. SC, nice blink backwards there by Thug. Unfortunately, Luna doesn't have the same kind of mobility. They're going to need to get off the BKB, but it doesn't go down. The first strike comes out first, and they've already blown up the big carry of Finem and taken down the Bane as well. BKB TB out for 1, but the supports and the utility off lane won't be as lucky. That's 4 down from Finem as SC picks up the triple kill. NewBee, they easily defend, and now they can be the ones clearly on the offensive.
They had it on several ward up the hill, but it wasn't enough to give Luna enough information to pop her BKB right as soon as possible, pretty much. And she just got destroyed by this OD who has a lot of intel, 155 intel. And they don't have the Aegis anymore, but with BKB still down for 30 seconds on the TA, and with 4 heroes dying, looks to be a clear sign for them to push up high ground. They really wanted a T3 down. I think Luna becomes like so much stronger once the T3's down, because the glaives just bounce back and forth between the racks.
Thug sets up quick meld strike on U9, but real sad thing is they do not have a wall of replica. That's one of the big high ground defending abilities. Oh, heavy moves coming out. Nightmare will manage to help Thug dodge some of that, but the tier 3 tower is already down. Move forward, manage to get a 2-man vacuum, pull back onto the 2 carries. They actually have Fiend's Grip onto 9. NewBee are setting up with the epicenter, but Thug has managed to jump forward. He interrupts that, but perhaps at the cost of his own life. No, he pops a BKB, moves forward, goes straight for the Juggernaut as quick as possible. KP, he'll get off the Guardian Angel, and immediately Finem start retreating. They don't want to fight around that, but they may just be forced to. With another catch of the imprisonment, Skylark's going to be in serious trouble. He's the first to go down. NewBee now with a numbers advantage for 50 seconds as there's no buyback on the Darkseer.
And you can just see the strength of the Omni Knight here. GA, okay, everyone backs off from Finem, man. Darkseer didn't blink out and retreat like the rest of the team, and he paid the heavy price.
And they don't have big ultimates at all. They don't even have BKBs. Nothing is going to be able to save Spartan there. SC, he realized what a dominant position NewBee are in for this next team fight. They easily clean up the full lane of racks, and they can choose to go for more here.
Ooh, Luna Diffusal. This is unexpected at this point, considering she just died in one of the recent fights. It doesn't look like she sold any of her items, so maybe they can take this fight. Darkseer does have this wall up again.
Another jump forward, and SC's going to force Madara back to base. Actually, Madara's going to come forward because they got a really good vacuum and a wall combination, but it just doesn't seem to be enough. They don't have any damage coming out. Thug trying to battle up against the Juggernaut, but he gets taken down by the Omni Slash. Nice and easy, and there's nothing Luna can do at half HP. They just call it. Finem will relent to an SC godlike in this game number 1. NewBee looking so dominant here on the main stage as they, at a score of 17-3, have a clear lead now in this series.
Risky plays from them. I think that Finem just knew the entire game that they couldn't win a team fight, and they tried to draw it out as long as they could, trying to split push as much as they could, gather as much information